talk about the wine and talk about the wine.
Welcome to Wine and our Sommelier, the podcast where we talk everything wine and everything that goes with it. I'm Moani, this is Chris and Hali'a. You guessed it, our special guest for the first half of the show is Chris. Round of applause. Let's open what we're about to drink and then we'll start grilling you. Does that work?
Yeah, special guest is a loose term. Not special guest. So this is a wine that I chose because I love bubbles. Who doesn't love bubbles, right? But none of us can afford champagne all the time. So this is a wine that, as we know through listening to the podcast and learning so much about wine, is that champagne can only be called champagne if it's grown in the Champagne region. I am balling on a budget, and I think a lot of our listeners, a lot of normal people here in Hawaii, actually, we don't make a ton of money. It's expensive to live here. So finding these everyday values is super important. Wine that delivers punches above its price point. This is Ramelb de Sesol.
Ramelb
de Sesol.
We'll let you say it. Yep.
And the bottling is called Petit Royal. It's made from 2 indigenous grapes from Altesse and Molette. So you can't really charge a lot for Altesse and Molette grapes. Nobody's ever heard of it. That's kind of why it's cheap.
So if the grape is not heard of or popular, that means that the wine itself will be cheaper or the bubbly will be cheaper?
Sort of. I mean, it's just like, we talk about wine and it's so romantic and it's so awesome, but wine is a business like anything else, right? Mm-hmm. Costs money. So if a winery can charge, like some of the best wineries in the world can charge like $800 a bottle, and they can sell it before the bottles are ready to release. They can sell every single bottle. Why would they charge anything less, right? So like, because these are non-exciting grapes, like who the hell has heard of Altesse and Molette? Like,
why? Maybe we should be the judge of it.
Yeah,
should we sip? Okay, cheers.
Okay.
Cheersing. To you, Chris.
Look me in the
Chris,
eye.
our sommelier.
All right, so tell us, how did you get into wine? How did you get into wanting to be a sommelier?
Dumb luck, honestly. But like,
Really?
yeah. Oh, totally. I mean, I grew up on Kaua'i, right? So like, drinking's in our blood. That's all we do. My dad grew up on Coors Light, raised me on Coors Light. Then I ordered Heineken and thought I was like the boss, right? You show up with a 12-pack of Heineken to the beach party and you're like,
That's like what every
I
local
made
boy
it, yo.
drinks. Come on.
I made it. Heineken and Crown.
The green bottle.
Hey, know your roots, right? Yeah, but I mean, I love wine because it gets you drunk first and foremost, and I'm about that, right? But I got out of school at University of Hawaii at Manoa, fell into a job as a business analyst for Southern Wine and Spirits, the largest distributor. Saw this really cool thing at the time called the Court of Master Sommeliers.
Okay.
And
Knowing nothing, not really even
Not at
loving
all.
wine, just
haven't had a sip pretty much my entire life. But I was my mom's an educator. I come from a long line of educators, and just like that community, that you have to learn about it. You have to be educated, and like it gave me a reason to study. I wasn't ready to grow up, so I could continue schooling, and the schooling was about alcohol, and I was actually like sort of good at it.
And it's fun.
Yeah.
And you get to get drunk.
and you're a
All the
tank.
time. I'm a tank.
And you're a tank, literally, the amount you've drank in this whole podcast show. I'm
So you're like,
wow.
I think I want to be a professional drinker.
Yeah, and that's
it just hit you.
exactly what it is.
So take us through the whole, you're studying, you're not a master. So also maybe we can go into that, but
Sure.
take us for
I
the
was one for
first-
6 weeks.
Wow. That's
Power
okay.
to
You
you.
can be our master and teach us about winology.
Has a negative connotation, that word now, but yeah.
Okay,
sure.
so going through the whole process, you study, take the test, you were a master for 6 weeks. Kind of fill us in as to what happened if you want to talk about it.
Yeah,
what
sure.
are some of the downfalls, positive, negatives, whatever you want to talk.
The positives is being a sense of like having that community, right? Like wine's expensive. It's hard to learn about it. It's hard to drink these amazing bottles, and like people were super inclusive. And once you start like showing and proving people that you can be good at it, so like every level, if masters was the 4th level, and there's 3 other levels, I passed every level the first time with the highest score. So people take notice, and once you start proving that, then like the opportunities that come, like this super cool podcast,
Yeah.
and like being able to talk to 2 amazingly talented, beautiful ladies,
Thank
like it's just one of the perks. You know, I got to travel, I got to do everything. I got to eat at the best restaurants in the world for free. So that's definitely some of the perks for sure. Downfalls? How much time we got?
We have about 1 minute.
There's a
Is there a
lot.
lot? Okay,
Yeah.
maybe a few.
Maybe a few.
Yeah, well, you're constantly around alcohol, right? And like as much as I love it, it's, you know?
It takes a toll.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think we found that firsthand.
I did this morning when I woke up.
Are we
No
going
joke.
there?
When I woke up this morning.
Oh
This
my
morning.
goodness. That's okay. You're supposed to drink more, right?
We are supposed to drink. It's hair of the
Hair
dog.
of the dog.
Okay,
Yeah.
give us another downfall.
Just the test itself, the Court of Master Somm thing itself. The disappointment I feel by not having.
Okay, well, we're going to hold on to
Definitely.
that and then we'll get
should.
back into that story. We're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we'll hear about his own story and becoming a master and studying. Special thanks to Windows Hawaii and Honolulu Star Advertiser. See you in a few.
Cheers.
Hello and welcome back to Wine and. We're here with our sommelier, Chris, and we're going to continue our conversation about his career.
And you said that there was a couple of downfalls with the whole test. We don't have to get into it. You can elaborate if you want. But my question to you is, are you going to take the test again?
I'm on the fence for sure. Wow, I didn't realize how hard this was going to be to talk about, right? Because it was so passing the Master Somm exam, like that was a huge deal. That was the most important thing in my career for 7 years. The amount of study and stress that it takes to go through each of the levels, like even for the third level, the advanced, it was like over 1,000 applicants in my year. 200 got in. It's a lot. So just being on the fence about taking it since the whole cheating scandal happened and like the titles got stripped for 23 masters at the time.
How does something like that happen? What does it take? Like, how would you be able to cheat on an exam like this?
Somebody who was in a position of very high power, a longtime member of the court and the board, gave out some of the blind tasting wine answers. So there's 6 wines for blind tasting. Probably have to hit 5 out of 6. Grape, country, region, quality, and vintage in order to pass. And he gave out a couple of the answers and yeah.
And they took it and they got everything right and found out that.
Actually, yeah. I mean, the rumor is that somebody who got the answers took it and didn't pass. And 6 weeks later blew the whistle. So that's how hard the test is, right? You can have some of the answers and you can still not pass. But yeah, I don't know. A lot of things have came to light about like transparency for scores and all that kind of stuff. And I'd like to get off the subject because I don't think it's about necessarily the court. Like I feel like hopefully I'm a decent enough somm already. Like it was me proving myself that I could do it and to like shed some light on Hawaii and like, hey, look at us. Like we're pretty good too.
Yeah.
And I think that's been done and like talking about it and like making kabut and being all humbug about it. Like it doesn't
Making kabut.
like,
It doesn't
right?
really show anything, and
Yeah,
it's just
we're-
more of just sitting in it.
Yeah, we're the aloha state. Like,
Yeah.
how do you handle adversity? How do you, like, close your mouth, which I'm not doing right now, and just be gracious about it?
Well, I have to say cheers. You definitely
Yes.
are coming back.
We're proud of
That's a
you.
positive.
Yeah.
But
Well, let's
go for
Okay,
it.
sorry. I want to know more about like the discipline, like the positives, like how you got to that level, the discipline. that it took
various
to-
levels, if
Yeah,
there's
the
other
different
levels.
tiers to get there.
Yeah, for sure. Just studying. Everybody thinks it's like drinking wine and that's part of it, right? But like, it's really about learning the crazy minutia about all these grapes and all these little things and laws, and it's like becoming a wine lawyer. A lot of it's really not fun, which is why, passing it was a great thing, and it's one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life, but I thought of it still like a college degree. Like, cool, I learned all this stuff, and now I get to focus on stuff that I really like to do. Like drink bubbles, or learn more about a particular region, or start a podcast, or I don't know.
So besides Chris, the sommelier, tell us a little bit. We know that you just recently bought a house with your girlfriend. How did you guys meet? It's 11 years, correct?
You keep bringing that up, yeah?
I'm
You
just
keep bringing
saying.
that up.
Well, the
Never
first thing
known
that
it.
we knew about you was you moved in with your girlfriend, and you've been together
That's
for
true.
11 years.
Because we'd actually just met, like right before the
Yes.
podcast, right? So we're like, in a sense, we're still getting to know each other.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd like to deflect that question by saying it's really nice getting to know you both.
You
They're
are
happy
so
to be on your team.
sly guy. Oh my goodness.
That's why she waited 11 years. I'm just joking.
You would go.
No, I mean, obviously it's gonna happen. It's
Yeah.
bound to happen. We chose each other for sure.
Yeah, where is she from?
Kaua'i, we met. Alcohol was involved.
Oh.
Alcohol is always involved,
Yeah.
right? But it was a beach party. It was a Heineken beach party, and
You guys were drinking beers?
amongst other things, for sure.
So coming back, like coming from Kaua'i and then moving to Oahu, is there a difference? Was there some things that you needed to get used to? I mean, Kaua'i life from Oahu life is, there's a little difference. between
Huge.
it. Yeah.
I mean, I'm never going back, right? As much as I love being from there and my mom's there and family's super important to me, this is where everything's at, right?
This is where the opportunity is.
Yeah,
Look at you.
for sure.
You're on a podcast.
Yeah, a super cool one. That's also available on YouTube, extended version.
Subscribe and like.
Always be plugging, right?
All right.
How much money do we have?
That's so funny. We're going to take a quick break here. Thank you so much to Windows Hawaii and the Honolulu Star Advertiser. We'll
you.
be right back.
Welcome back to Wine and. All right, we're gonna give you one more question if you don't mind, Chris.
Sounds good.
You were telling, and you can add to this, you were telling me and Hali'a that you had to change your diet, and then also, what was it about a supermarket?
Yeah, you said you were walking around.
If you ever see like nail marks or like ripped skins from fruit or citrus in the farmer's market or the grocery thing, that's like me. I swear. Because like you have to smell everything, right? You have to get so used to sensory stuff. Like limes. Is it lime peel, lime pith, lime seed, lime juice? How fresh is it? Is it rotting? It's so weird. So I would smell everything, taste everything. The diet thing was probably a blessing in disguise because you don't eat spice, hot food. Like I eat ramen constantly, if you can't tell. I'm a carb monster. But I don't eat hot temperature stuff. Like months
Wait, so
leading
what
up.
did you eat?
It's just rice, basically.
So
Like,
bland.
Bland stuff, no spice. I love spice. I try to stay away from dairy. Like it doesn't agree with me anyways, but how can you not like cheese if you drink wine? It took a lot. It definitely takes a lot. But the diet stuff was, I think of it like training for the Olympics.
Wow.
So you get one shot a year and you get 25 minutes. And in that 25 minutes, you need to be like Superman. And the thing is, I don't know how much that actually helped. You know, I really don't know if like that helped at all. But my feeling going into it being like, man, I suffered so much. Like I just wanted a like ramen. I suffered so much for my craft and I gave so much to it that like, I think that sense of calm, like, man, how could I not do well? How could I not pass? Like, look how much I gave to it. Look how much of myself, my money I gave to this thing. And it worked for the most part, I think. But I know the reason why people are watching this podcast is not necessarily to watch me and talk about wine. You're here for you two.
Really?
Absolutely.
I don't know.
I like wine and I like learning about wine. So.
Cool. Well, so what would you characterize yourself as, Moani? Like Moani, the this/this, the model/actress/ like what? How do you introduce yourself to people? Like the most interesting person in the world, or?
You were very sweet. You're trying to get brownie points. I love it.
Both of you, actually.
I don't know.
I don't know. We're both very multifaceted. And I think most people are, but
Yeah. So Hali'a, in your case, like, so musician /
yeah, like I'm a music lover, entertainer. I definitely would say that. But that's not only what I am.
Right.
I mean, what would you say about yourself?
It's hard to just put one
like
label.
this.
I mean, you could say like media, public figure, host. You could go. I mean, there's
Miss Hawaii.
Yeah, Miss
Yeah.
Hawaii. You can go into
same,
it.
right?
I don't know. Multi-talented. Me and Hali'a.
That seems like a cop out, but I know that's exactly true. But that does seem like a cop out.
I've actually never been asked that question. I don't know. I've always
Welcome
gone
to
into
Wine and,
something.
the podcast,
Well, I've never
where we
just gone into
ask the hard
something.
questions.
Right, but literally, I've never sat down and had a conversation with someone and then be like, okay, how would you categorize yourself? It's always been, oh, this is Moani, like pageant or model. It's never been. But anyways, we're gonna take a break.
I need to hear more about
We're gonna
this.
stop
I
talking
need to hear more
about
about
me,
that.
and we're gonna send it over to Chandra because she has the cocktail of the week. When we get back, we'll talk more, hopefully not about me, and more about Chris and Hali'a. Stay tuned.
Thanks, guys. This week we're at the Stage Bar at the Design Center, and we're gonna make a beautiful wine-forward classic cocktail called the New York Sour. We're gonna start with some fresh lemon juice, about an ounce of that, a touch of simple syrup. The original recipe called for egg whites so we could emulsify and get a little foam on top of it. So we're gonna add some pasteurized egg whites. I'm using a nice spicy rye, Wild Turkey rare breed rye whiskey. And we're gonna give this a reverse dry shake. I'm gonna strain it out, shake it one more time just to get that froth really working in the glass here. We're gonna strain this over a beautiful craft ice cube by On the Rock, Hawaii. And topping it off is gonna be Stage's Private Blend. It's a red blend. It's a nice full-bodied wine. It's gonna go great with this cocktail. And here we have our New York Sour.
Welcome back to Wine and thank you so much, Chandra, for the cocktail of the week. That looks amazing. All right, we were just talking about Moani. Do you want to throw it off to anyone? Chris?
We were just talking about both of you, right?
Oh, I'm just trying
Well, I
to
mean,
push
it just
away
sucks
from me.
because, so appearance, right? Like people look at you and they're like, okay, these are pretty girls. And then it sucks when you get compartmentalized, right? Like, what are you? You couldn't even describe what you were because there's so many different things, right? You're a musician, you're a host, you're a public figure, all these kind of things. And I think that's kind of why I chose wine. Because it's like, what are you? When I started out, I was a computer dork. I was a business analyst. So this guy doesn't know wine. He does computer stuff. And then I got into wine and I did pretty decent at it. It's like, this guy doesn't know restaurant management. He only knows wine. And it's like,
Well,
every
that's
single
like,
thing
it's
you
your
do.
passion now.
Yeah.
You know, like you're very passionate about wine. Hali'a, I'm going to turn it to you. You're
Yes.
very passionate about music.
Yes.
You need to tell us a little bit about that.
And extremely talented.
Yes, and she also,
Stop.
Pre-COVID, you were doing your whole dance classes. I mean, if you watch her on Instagram, there are some sexy moves. I need to learn some things. 101 dance with Hali'a.
What's your at, Hali'a?
What's my at?
What's your at?
Hali'a Lani. It's very
Okay.
simple. It's for everything.
At
But
Hali'a
you
Lani.
come from your family is heavily into music, and your brothers sing. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, I grew up in a very musical family. Entertainment was our world. So, I mean, there's no way around it. You grow up and you get instruments for Christmas. You know, every holiday you sing a song about the holiday. Like
Music was always a part of our lives, and Mom was in the church choir. Dad had his own Hawaiian contemporary band, and it was just all around us. So it's just something that stuck with me, and I definitely developed a passion for it, and I decided to teach it. So now I teach music, I teach dance, I perform on stage at
What do you not do?
That's probably a shorter list, yeah.
But
We should start off with what you don't do.
But
What-
I was like you, like I was studying business, and
I think it's really good that
you can decide at any age, at any time in your life, you can decide what you want to do and just pursue it. Like, you don't have to fit into this box of, I'm this, and this is what everyone sees me as. Like, I can just pretty much do whatever floats my boat, whatever I'm passionate about. And I think that's, for all of us.
Yeah, and at least for me, when I went to LA and then I came back, you definitely appreciate the culture that we have here in Hawaii, the family, just the aloha spirit. I know that's very cliche and everyone says it, but it is true. What was one thing that you learned from going to Florida and then coming back home? Like, what was one thing that you learned from there, or you're just like, oh, this is why I love home?
Yeah, well, I was performing for Disney World for about 3.5 years.
Wow.
And just the fact that everybody gravitates towards Hawaii. You go to college, people go abroad. I mean, there's transplant Hawaiians everywhere, and everyone's like, "You're from Hawaii? What is it about? I want to visit you." And
And the fact that you see the value in it in other
People's eyes makes you appreciate it so much more.
because we go away to find opportunity, but then we realize that there's something special here. There's something you can't even, there's not a tangible
Thing about it, like it's just something, some spirit, some kind of feeling just that's here in Hawaii and always pulls us back.
Well, it's an extra sense of pride for you both too, right? Because you're from Hawaii, obviously, but you're also native Hawaiian, right? Like, how does that weigh on you? Like, is that something you think about when you're representing? I don't know. Is that? Because how long were you in LA for?
I was in LA for almost 3 years, but I don't necessarily think being Hawaiian, there's a pressure that comes with it, or necessarily a pride. But when I was a lot more, youthful now. Back in the day.
Whatever.
No, but you kind of, that your mindset changes, right? When you're growing up, yes, you understand your heritage, you understand the history, and all of that, but growing up and now being a little bit more aware of certain things that have gone within the media or the news, it makes you appreciate your roots. When I was younger, I didn't really take that into account, and then it's not really good.
So you're firmly in Hawaii now?
Oh yeah, 2 feet on the ground,
You too?
Yeah.
Cool. I'm just thinking selfishly for like, no, season 2, right? We're running this back, right? You need to stay here.
Oh my goodness.
No, I think it's super important to respect all cultures, but then definitely see the value in the Hawaiian culture and the Hawaiian community, because we realize that we're actually minorities in our own in our own place, our native place. We're minorities, so I think that aspect makes it even more special. Yeah.
Hey, don't look at me.
All right. Well, it was so nice catching up with you guys as always. And we're going to have to wrap this show up. Definitely like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you so much to Saks Fifth for dressing us today. Is that Hugo Boss again?
It is.
Oh my goodness.
You got to go down to
You are
international
all
marketplace.
bossed out.
I am.
Boss today. All right.
I am.
Thank you
More
so
compliments.
much. Check them out at the International Marketplace in Waikiki. Also, thank you to Windows Hawaii and the Honolulu Star Advertiser.
It's been fun, guys.
It's been fun.
Cheers.
Aloha. Cheers.